Good afternoon and welcome to the Middleton Chambers On Track session for October. We're very excited to have all of you guys here. Thank you for taking time out of your schedules to join us. Excited to have this presentation about Google because as we know, like Google can do so many things, and hopefully we're going to teach you guys a few new ways today. I want to start with a couple shout outs to our sponsors. A huge thank you to TDS, Amplify Digital, and Monona Bank. We really appreciate their help in helping us execute these programs throughout the year. Appreciate their support of the chamber. So a couple of things, we're going to ask you guys to leave yourselves on mute right now as we're going through. It just kind of cuts out that background noise, but would love to see those cameras on and see those smiling faces to know you guys are out there. So with that, I would love to introduce our speaker today. So Adrianne Machina is joining us, and she is the Chief Velocity Officer of Tornado Marketing and an in-demand copywriter, speaker, and consultant with a special focus on online marketing. So I would love to turn this over to you.
Thank you, Kristen. Nice to meet you all. We have a really good session here. So we're going to be talking about specifically how to get new customers with Google My Business. How many of you are on Google My Business? Like, raise your hand if you've already got like some sort of setup. Okay. So I think there's going to be something here for everybody. So if you're not set up, we're going to go through how to get set up. And then if you are set up, there's going to be some tricks that are, tips for managing it. It's going to be helpful. So as Kristen said, my name is Adrianne Machina with Tornado Marketing. And I've been doing sales and marketing for more than 20 years. I work one-on-one with clients to build websites, messaging strategy, marketing strategy. But I've also had thousands of people go through my training programs that I've done at UW Small Business Development Center, along with other places. So really worked with a lot of businesses and seen a lot of things in my time. When I am not at work, I have become a cat mother. So during the pandemic, my son dropped off this little present at my house. And so I've been spending way too much time taking cat photos. So this is PETA. He does have 2 different colored eyes, and he is a mischief maker. So I'm adding crazy cat mom to my resume there. All right, so like I said, we're going to go over the basics, make sure everybody knows like how to get started, why you need it, how to get started, and then just going through like what happens with ongoing management and optimizing. So this is not a one and done setup. You need to be managing your Google My Business profile on an ongoing, consistent basis. I would say many people say Google My Business is more important than search engine optimization. First of all, it's free. Second of all, it's owned by Google. So Google prioritizes Google things. So there's really no reason not to be on Google. And I'll actually show you some of the shortcomings of not being on Google My Business. And the truth is most businesses have not claimed their business listing at this point. So what is it? So if you go to google.com/business, that's how you get to the Google My Business site. And it has become like a central hub where you can manage maps, you can manage Google reviews, you can use it for lead generation. And there's actually like a automated website builder in there. So if you think you need a website and haven't gotten around to creating one, there is like a free Google My Business website that is, I've never used it, but I keep ending up there because as you will see, Google does a lot of things to keep upselling you. And I think it's one of the things that makes setting up Google My Business really complicated because it sends you down these little rabbit holes. And then you're like, wait, where am I now? I didn't mean to be here. And then you're like backtracking to figure out where the heck you are. So I'm going to just show you some of the places where those are showing up. So in a nutshell, you really need to be on Google My Business so that you can get found online, so you can get found in the real world, so you can get those phone calls and messages And so you can put those get those reviews and then put them front and center. So once you get a Google review, you can use it on your website. You can use it on your printed brochures. Big fan of getting reviews anywhere you can. Okay, so when people Google your business name, so I just did Kiva Sports. Is somebody from Kiva Sports on here? I saw somebody was coming. So anyway, so hopefully you're okay with me using your thing. There's nothing proprietary really on here. But so when people Google you by your business name, you see how much real estate you're taking up, like half of the page if people know who you are. So it is a huge opportunity to capitalize on somebody who is looking for you right now. Also, if people get Google your categories. So like, I don't know, I just moved to Middleton. I'm looking for a sports center. I'm in town. If I Google something like sports center near me, again, it's the Google My Business information shows up on Google Maps. So you want to make sure that you are optimizing your Google My Business profile, because the more complete your profile is, the more reviews you have, the more Google thinks, wow, this is relevant and I'm going to show this information. So those are some reasons why you want to make sure you're set up. So what happens when you're not on Google My Business? Well, the most obvious thing is, right, you're invisible, but it's actually much worse than being invisible, because anybody, like you can see, like if you don't have a listing, and this is just, you know, like on that sidebar, if it's not owned, you'll get a prompt, do you own this business? And anybody can add information to your Google My Business listing. So Google, what Google does, it goes out and looks for all the businesses that it thinks exist there, out there in the world already. But if you don't claim your listing, somebody else can claim it for you, you know, whether they're malicious or accidental or just messing around. Also, they can edit your business listing. They can make all kinds of changes. And if you're not paying attention, that cannot work out in your favor. And then also, this is where you manage your Google reviews. So you don't want to leave bad reviews just sitting out there with no response and nobody checking on it. So it's really, really important that everybody goes and claims their business listing at the very beginning. And as you know, 80% of searches start with Google. So this is a great place to get on the first page of Google. Like, you can do this with other ways with search engine optimization, but it's expensive. It takes ongoing effort, takes ongoing maintenance. With Google My Business, you can get it set up probably in like an hour. And then probably it's going to take you ongoing after that, you know, depending on how big your business is. Well, it's going to take you how long your business is to set it up, but you can set it up pretty quickly and then go on and manage it. The other good thing about Google My Business is that the people who are searching here have buying intent. So all the research shows that these are people who that day are getting directions, jumping in their car, going to your site. They are visiting, they're looking for places local. A lot of companies, especially like Dane County, we want to support local businesses. So they are looking to learn about local businesses and organizations and find local providers. So how do we get started? So there's 4 steps here. First, you sign up, add your information, add categories, and then listing. So note that you'll see this throughout. Google is going to keep trying to upsell you. So you'll see things like, you know, show up where people are looking for you. You're like, sure, sounds like a great idea. All of a sudden now you're pumped out into Google AdWords and you're like, what? Why am I over here? You know, or yeah, I'd like a professional email. Oh, now you're in Google Workplace. Now you've got different decisions to make. So what I say when you're setting this up, ignore all the upsells till you are set up completely. And then if you want to go back and add some of these features and do Google ads, no problem. But these little rabbit holes can really like throw you off from thinking that you've got your site set up the way you need it to. Okay, so one of the ironic things I think is you have to verify your business listing, but you do it by snail mail. So once you start to set up, they will send you a postcard in the mail. It takes 5 to 7 days. You have to take that postcard, it has a code, you go in and enter it. You really cannot pass go until you have that postcard. You can hide your address. So if you are a freelancer, you don't want to publish your address, just because you get a card does not mean that you have to publish your email address or your permanent address or your home address. You can hide your address, you can show a service area. So just know that that is an option for you. So you'll first start by just setting up your basic business profile, your business name, your category. One of the things that's important, not just on Google My Business, but across all of the social media categories, is to be really consistent with how you name your company. So if you name, like if I'm like Tornado Marketing in one place and Tornado Marketing Inc. in a different place, Google looks at that as two separate things. The same thing is true for website address. So I just changed my domain to Tornado Marketing with no dash. And I have to go into every single place where it's listed and change it from Tornado Marketing to Tornado Marketing. But it's important whether you use the www or don't use the www. Those things are important. Google looks at them differently. So you want to be really consistent with your business name, be consistent with your URLs. For this presentation, because of how comprehensive Google My Business can be, we're really going to focus on the service types of business. I'm going to show you a little bit about how to add products, but adding like merchant like products is another level that I didn't think would pertain to the larger audience. So I just kind of set that to the side. But if you start to go down the product route, it's going to now kick you into Google Merchant Center. And so then you have to decide, how are people going to check out? Do you want them to check out on Google, on your website? Do you want them to come to your store? So just know that if you have products, it's going to take you longer to set up your Google My Business profile and send you down a little side road. All right, so picking the right category is one of the key decisions that you need to make, and it's really important. And in Google itself, it's very difficult to do. So for an example, I've got, I'm going to show you like one of my clients who's an accounting firm. So if I just start to search account, like I'm going to get accountant, accounting firm, accounting school, like, but I don't know what else is there. So like, now do I go search bookkeeping? Do I search tax? Like I'd have to just kind of root around to figure out like, what do I want to be my main category? And you can only have one main category that shows up on your profile. So you want to pick that category really carefully. So my trick is to use this tool called Pleper. I think it's a terrible name, Pleper. I don't know. All I can think of is like leper colonies. But there's this tool, and this is where if you click that link, it'll show you all the Google My Business categories. So like if I was searching for an accountant, it's going to show me, here's my main categories around that. And then I can go in and look at the subcategories. So I go into the subcategories, and this tool will show me how many people are using this term. And you kind of want to be in a term, in the larger percentage. Like, even though you might say, well, I would like a niche. Yes, if you just do bookkeeping services, you wouldn't want to make your main category accounting. You would want to make it bookkeeping services. But you can see here on this screen, like tax preparation and tax preparation services are two different services. Why? I have no idea. But so this is important to look at, like what are other businesses using for listing their business? The second consideration, and probably even more than that, is what are people searching for? So if I'm trying to decide So my client's super proud of being a CPA. So they want to put certified public accountant. Well, nobody's searching for that. That is that dead blue line here. So really what I want to do is make my main category accounting. So I spread my net wide so more people can find me, and then go from there. So I'm looking for how I can get the most traffic. So I want to go with the categories that are more popular. Also, you can put in as many, I don't know if there's a limit, but you can put in a lot of subcategories. You just want to make sure that those secondary categories relate to your primary business. So for example, if you're a gym and you offer childcare, you don't want to put yourself as childcare, because you're going to then attract people who are looking for childcare. Then they're going to leave your site, and then it's going to mess with your site optimization, performance metrics, etc. So just make sure that when you're picking your category, they're all aligned. So it'd be accounting, tax preparation, bookkeeping, etc., or marketing consultant, website, search engine optimization, whatever. But they should all be related to your main business. Okay. And you'll see I did screenshots because, again, all the rabbit holes here, I just want to make sure that I'm not clicking around and going out of bounds here. And if you have any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat, and then I'll stop at certain points for Kristen to ask questions, but I don't want you to forget about your question. So feel free to use that to remind yourself. Okay, so the home page is kind of the central dashboard where you are going to start to interact with your site, or you're going to go on a regular basis. So this would be where you would manage. So you can see right here on the right-hand side, it's already trying to sell me on ads, trying to sell me on getting professional email address. Man, want to ignore that. This stay connected during COVID, that's really important, especially if you've got a COVID, a business that you're taking precautions or people are nervous about, like indoor dining or whatever. You can update your business hours, tell people what you do about cleaning and protocol and masking and all that. So that's really important to fill out. That's on this page that is nowhere else. Let's see here. Oh, and it will tell you, that's what I meant to do. It will tell you how much of your profile has been completed. So I can't seem to get mine to 100%. I have no idea why. Get them to about 85%. It keeps saying add a logo. I'm like, I've got a logo there. So I don't know, but it will tell you, you'll start out at nothing, 20%. So work to get it up. And then maybe if you have products, it will get more complete. And maybe that's one of the reasons I can't, is because most of my clients do not have products. Okay, so then when you are doing the setup, so we're going to go through all the setup first, you want to really start with the info tab. So making sure that your name is set up exactly the way you want it to be. So Bright Child Learning Center is different than Bright Child Preschool, different than just Bright Child. You want it to be consistent across all of your social media platforms. And then here you can see I've got the categories set up, the address, the service areas, hours, all that. So the information that you're going to gather before you go to that page is you are going to make sure you've agreed on the business name, got that documented somewhere, what your categories are. You need to know your service areas. We'll get into that in a second. Hours, products, a business description. So, right, whatever you have at your boilerplate point business description, and then any special attributes. So you can list if you are wheelchair friendly, woman owned, veteran owned, any of those pieces. So this is your little checklist on page, I'm not sure which page it's on. All right. Next section that you're going to set up. So this is on the info tab, and it's also on the services tab. So it's like a web, they're all interconnected. You're going to create your different categories. So as you saw on Bright Child, they've got daycare center, preschool, and Montessori school. So I can add embellishments under daycare, preschool, or Montessori school. Like on the daycare center, they've got field trips. They have Spanish language classes. I could add it if they have summer camps or soccer classes or whatever I wanted to add. So you can go on and make that as complete as you would like. The products you add, so I just started taking pickleball lessons, so looking for, it's my new thing. It seems like all the rage these days. So you can add products and they're going to show up in Google Shopping and different areas. So there's this simple way to add a product, and then you can also go into the Google Merchant Center to manage it on a larger scale. I am not the expert on setting up products, but I just wanted to show you how this works. And then this is also how you can find products near me. So if I search like CBD oil near me, it's going to show me where I can buy these things locally. So that gives an advantage to the smaller business who, you can see like Bed Bath & Beyond and Target have optimized their pages, but you have a real opportunity here to show up in the local listings, which is great. The next thing you can do is set up to track phone calls. So that would mean every time a call comes in through your Google My Business listing, instead of your website, there will be a little prompt at the beginning that says, this call is from Google. And it's not from Google, it's coming through your Google My Business listing page. So, and then you can see, like if I clicked that see call history, I could see a list of all the people who have called in the last day, week, month, I think up to a quarter, it'll go back. So that's a good thing for tracking. Some of these other things you may decide to do or not to do, depending on how you choose to manage your business. So you can set up to accept messages on Google My Business directly. So people can message you and you can message them straight back from here. Now, the problem is if you don't respond, Google's going to turn off your ability to receive messages. So you want to make sure that in the notification setting that you've got it set up so that when somebody messages you, you see it. Or you can download the Google My Business app that will also put it all in one place. But, and you don't have to do it. Some people don't want messages coming in, and that's totally fine, not obligated. The other thing that you can do now directly through Google is accept bookings. Now, if you haven't set up to be a service type business, this option is not going to show up for you. So based on what you set up at the beginning, your sidebar might look slightly different. Like if you're a restaurant, it might have like an area for you to add your menu. This shows you how you can get booked through Google. There's, I think, only one provider called Timify. And I looked at it, it's free. I have not set this up. It's a pretty new feature. I'd be curious, has anybody set this up? How it's working? So yeah, because most of my, so what I've done is you can put in a place for booking appointments, and I just put my website address, like here's my contact us page. I don't really want people booking my time directly here, but some people are, like if I was a nail salon or something, I might find this to be useful. And I'm not sure exactly how it works. Yeah. And this is just my professional recommendation, as because I work with all kinds of small business owners and they're always just handing me all their passwords and the keys to the kingdom. But I really think it's a better idea. So I try to train my clients to set up their own profile, share access with your staff or with your external marketing consultants so that you always have control. So if something happens to anybody, you are always retaining control, and you can add and change people as you want. But adding users is very simple to do. All right. So once we've got the, let me stop and see if we have any questions on, do we have any questions Kristen, on getting set up, or if anybody has questions on just the basic setup.
I think Deb, you were looking for the site link. I wasn't sure which site you were referencing.
For the Pleper.
Or the Pleper link.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'll send that to you.
If you want to send it to me, Adrianne, I can include it in the email that they get after today.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and you'll get a copy of all these slides, and I did put the link right in there too.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, so ongoing management. So pretty much everything that you are going to need is going to be on your homepage. So this should be your Google My Business Central aspect, where you are logging in, and it provides links to all these other pages. You'll notice that when I went through the setup, I skipped a lot of these on the side, and that's what we're going to go through now. Okay, so the first one is to add posts. So you have 3 different kinds of posts you can post here. So offers, what's new, and events. So this is a great way. So some of you might be concerned about, like, well, what about like duplicate content? Like, people are always scare small business owners on like the duplicate content issue. It's not an issue for something like this. So if you have like events like this event, you could post it in addition to having it on your website and on Facebook and all those other places. You can have it on your Google My Business listing, so that when people see your name in the sidebar, they see the events that you have upcoming. They can see any special offers that you have. And then the what's new, you can use this to post announcements. You can use it to post, like, anytime you create a blog post, you can put it here in this section. So this particular client, their daycare is completely full, and it has been completely full for more than a year. So we have not done a lot to maintain it, but you can see they're still getting like 24 views on their posts like this week. And that's like with no posts for practically a year. So these do have some shelf life to them. So it's worth putting some in there. So I would start with just adding a few just to start with, that are about like your main products or services or things that are salient about you. And then you can update it as you go. The next section to look at here is the insights. So this is going to show, so you can see here, there's going to be a whole new way to see it, the Profile Performance Center. So again, like kind of down another rabbit hole, but this is really interesting because this will show you how people are finding your business. So direct means they searched for your business name or address. So this is the example where they searched Kiva Sports. So in this case, looks like about 40% searched directly Bright Child, some derivative of Bright Child. The blue is people who are just searching for, in this case, daycare center, childcare center, Montessori school, something that is around the services that we've created. So what you want to optimize here, and of course it depends on your business, is the people that already know you are going to find you pretty much no matter what. They can just keep doing searches, right? But by filling out your Google My Profile, my business profile completely, you're going to increase the people who discover you because you've got your products listed, your services, your categories. And that's what you're really looking for, is how you can search, increase this blue search circle. And instead of just the people already looking for you. And then branded would be like, if you're a Microsoft partner and people are searching for something like Microsoft partner or Culver's ice cream or something, like people who are looking for a brand name, that's who's going to show up in yellow, but there's not a lot of brand names that come.
We do have a couple questions here.
Yeah.
Do you have a ratio of what you like to see? You know, like 20% direct, 10% branded, the rest discovery? Is there like a magic potion?
Well, no, because it really depends on the business, but I think discovery is absolutely the most important part. Like you want to make your ring bluer and bluer, because again, the people who already know you, they should be going to your website address or whatever, but maybe it's a referral. So that's another reason like why you want to have it all filled out so that people can directly contact you. You're not putting some barriers in there.
Sure. Okay. And the other question is, if you added a blog post, do you put the content directly on Google, or do you create a link to your website's blog page?
I put the content directly here, and then I might put like a read more link at the end back to your web page, but I put it entirely, like the meat of it is all here. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. A little bit of each. The next thing that's really important is to manage reviews. So reviews are important for every business. To get optimized on Google Maps, you want to have at least 5 reviews. And, you know, ask your mother, ask your kids, like just get 5 reviews. Not too hokey, of course, like people can see right through if y'all have the same last name, like people are pretty wise to that. You don't have to respond to all reviews, but you want to respond to any negative review. You definitely want to respond to. So this Google makes it really easy. So it'll show you all of them, which ones you've replied to, and you can just use the tab that says, these are the ones I haven't replied to yet. So you can like look through your list, make sure they are, you know, good. Anybody who doesn't get, you know, gives you 3 stars or below, I'd say it's usually worth responding to them and explaining what happened. So for example, you can see actually on this one, there was somebody who was upset about the process, you know, talk to the owner. Of course, he's super upset. He's like, you know, this person, blah, 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 you know, like, don't answer when you're all upset, because that never goes well. So cool off, talk to an impartial person, let it sit for a second and then respond. And then I always say, just try to take it offline. Like there's no point getting into a sparring match on here. Just sort of generally apologize, explain big picture went wrong, and then just offer to talk offline. And there's actually like a review form that you can send people to. So like maybe you don't want, you know, like you might put this like on your website or in your email or in your post-service survey where you're like, hey, can you give me a review? And you can grab this link. It is, of course, not on the review tab. It is on the home tab. So that I would put that suggestion in the suggestion box to Google, but they don't really listen. But I would definitely grab that review, because reviews are really important. Like I said, you want to have at least 5 to increase your profile. And it really depends on your industry. So the more you're in like professional services, something that's invisible, those reviews really help people feel comfortable that you're good. Like I know, like I will look through reviews like when I'm traveling, or back in the days of traveling, you know, and I'll kind of like weed through for like, this person seems like fussy or whatever. Like, oh yeah, you went to Chuck E. Cheese and you complained about too many kids yelling. You know, you might not be quite right in the head. So reviews are really important. Again, you want to be looking for and responding to messages. So way down at the bottom of your left-hand sidebar on Google My Business, there is a settings little gear, and that is where you adjust your like notifications. So the problem is if you're getting messages and you're not seeing them and not responding to them, Google's going to turn them off. So you don't want, you know, potentially good customers to sit there and never get responded to. Like anything, you will get spam through here. So you don't have to respond to it. There's a way to manage it. You can delete them out. It's very easy to manage. Then the next thing you want to do is add photos. And if you are in a business where customers can take photos, any photos that customers take will also show up here. So again, this is why it's really important to continually manage your Google My Business listing, because, you know, if somebody posts something unflattering, or, you know, like you want to like be on it, take it down or whatever. You can see like this, like without doing much. So we've got like a logo, cover image. You know, they've had almost 150,000 people have seen that cover image, which is crazy for, you know, that's like half the city of Madison has somehow seen that. So that's pretty insane. But like photos get a lot of recognition. So you want to put photos in here. And there's a separate section where you want to put product photos. So you, at the top of this, let's see, does it show this? No, at the top, it will help. It will show you, you can add videos, you can add pictures, the interior, exterior, and it's just a way of helping people see your business before they get there. So like you might put a picture of the outside so that if people are driving up, they're like, yep, that's what it looks like. And they feel immediately comfortable that they're in the right place. And if you have something like kids or puppies, like, oh, those are the best. Those are the best kind of pictures. So just to recap what to do for ongoing that I think is the most important. The number one most important, I think, is to just constantly be managing those reviews, make sure all the reviews are positive. Any reviews that are not positive, make sure you respond kindly in a non-emotional way. Add posts and photos. So like make it part of your social media marketing routine that when you post blog posts or events, that you start to add Google My Business into that. So I know like one of the social media apps I use called Promo Republic, they've actually added the Google My Business as a place I can post when I post to other places. So it makes it really easy. And I think we're going to see more of that because it's really important. The more your Google My Business site is fresh and has new content, the more Google is going to promote it. Use those Google My Business insights to continually improve. So I didn't like dig too deep into it, but the page is actually pretty long. And you can see like what people are searching for, like the terms they're using, what zip codes they're in, and you can use that to inform like your other advertising that you're doing. You can use it to just continually optimize your site. Or maybe you find people are searching for something that you don't do. Like let's say you're an accountant and people are searching for like bookkeeping services. You know, you want to just make sure you're, you know, not push, you know, or you're the gym and you've got childcare in there. Like that's a warning that those people are looking for the wrong thing. And then just always reviewing those suggested updates. So every time I log in, there's something like, oh, somebody went by and they said, your business is wheelchair friendly. And I'm like, okay. And so then I'll add that, or they'll update the address, or like they update all kinds of things. So, and you have to be careful because if they have malicious intent, they could push something that is not helpful if they're a competitor or whatever. And one of the easiest ways to manage this is to download the Google My Business app. So they have an iPhone app and they have an Android app, and makes it easy to keep up with this on a regular basis. I'm going to turn it back to questions, but if there's anything that you think of later, feel free to shoot me an email. I just changed all my accounts, so it should work at just tornadomarketing.com. Or you can call me on the phone. I'm less good at that, but
Awesome.
Is there any other questions in the queue, Kristen?
We do have a couple. So if you provide a service, do you put photos of people enjoying that service out there since you don't actually have a location?
Yep, you could, yeah, like, so it depends on the service. So like if you have like a dog training service, like showing pictures of you training your dogs, that's great. Is that what you're saying? Like, yeah. And
Yeah,
you could
so
put-
this specific business does like leadership training and development kind of stuff. So they don't actually have like a product.
right,
And she usually, I think, goes into the place of business. So
right. And you can put in some pictures that are like stock photo. I've used stock photo images when you don't have, like, just make them not too cheeseball, but you know, just to connote things like leadership. So when you create like a product or a service, you've got an opportunity to put an image there. So you could just put an image of what represents like leadership coaching.
or like, could you put your headshot? Would that
You
be?
can put your headshot. Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
Another question we got, does Google call your business to tell you your business has not been verified? I've got a robocall telling me that not to hang up and to press 1 to verify my business on their end.
No, don't hang up. You don't need to be paying these companies to do all of this management. There's a couple of directory services like Yext and SignUp that are, you know, will manage all of your directory listings from one central place. But don't take the inbound calls. Like those people are mostly scammy and spammy and no.
Joe, and we've gotten those here too at the chamber even. It's like, don't hang up.
Don't hang
I was
up.
like, okay, well, that's what I'm going to do.
Right. Like, I'm pretty sure my listing is verified, or it's not, you know, or it's not optimized. Yeah, whatever.
Awesome.
Right.
So again, yeah, if you guys have questions, please feel free to type those in the chat. I'm just going to plug an upcoming chamber event quickly, and then we can take some more questions. So next week, we're doing an e-commerce and Amazon, how to survive growth after COVID. So if you have a product or service to sell electronically somehow, we're going to kind of dive into that. So that's next week, Wednesday from 1 to 1:45. And then again, just a shout out to those sponsors listed. Thanks to TDS, Amplified Digital, Monona Bank, and a super shout out to Adrianne from Tornado Marketing for taking the time today to be with us, and for all of you for joining as well. So with that, we would love to have you guys take yourself off of mute, use the chat to ask any questions. We are happy to stay and take those from you guys.